Hi,
Hello.
everybody. Welcome to the system. I'm here with Sana. Hi, Sana. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, good.
Could you please give a brief introduction as to who you are and your field of study?
Sure. So I just defended my PhD a month ago in biomedical engineering. I started at FIU in 2015. So my background is also from undergrad is in biomedical engineering as well. And in my PhD, I pretty much tackled on cardiovascular diseases, but understanding at a basic science and looking at both from developmental as well as mechanics perspective.
Awesome. What motivated you to pursue a career in STEM in the first place?
So, when I was very young, I did not really enjoy memorizing. So, I was always very interested in seeing if I could actually understand something and rather
Yeah.
than memorize. So I got really interested in mathematics because I didn't have to memorize. So the exams were like easy to go into because it was just me understanding the concepts. So that's when I knew that I was really, really good at math. And that's where I decided like, okay, mathematics is something I definitely want to pursue. And I was really interested in biomedical side of the biology side of their field as well. But growing up, those two things were not looked at, especially where I'm from. And so I just didn't think I could combine them together until I came to US and figured out that there's actually a field that could actually combine both your love for math and biology. So it was just a perfect love triangle, I guess.
Yes, of course. And what has been your experience as a woman in STEM? Have you ever felt like any gender discrimination? Did you ever notice like less women in your classes? Or has it been a pretty neutral, kind of positive experience?
Mhm. So, coming from a background, I was a very shy little girl, and in undergrad, I went to a tech school. So, going to a tech school meant that I had about 70% guys in my school, and most of my classes were male dominated. So, it was a little intimidating, especially being a shy person and not knowing like how to fit in with guys,
Yeah,
but I never felt discriminated against. At least, yes, there's definitely biases on women know less than men, so people would trust women. People would trust more men what they say than women for sure.
yeah.
But as I worked more on that, working with guys, I have developed a very assertive personality and I came out of my shell. So now I don't feel that way. I think I hold that aspect of um, showing that and proving that I know as much as a man knows as well. So definitely personality has definitely developed as well in being in STEM.
That sounds awesome. I'm really happy that you were able to develop that skill and like being more assertive because I know definitely a lot of women face that like in STEM fields. Um,
Absolutely.
Besides that, what other challenges do you think women face in like biomedical engineering or like similar fields?
So I think one of the challenges women face is they don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
Much as men, they don't. They put this hat on, pretend that they know, but they are also as much confused as we are. But they just have this bluntness, and we just always question ourselves: are we capable of this or that? Should we take this responsibility or not? Especially like if you as you go later on in your career, then you have personal life as well, and that's when women start to question a lot of those aspects as well. So I think that's definitely one of the things that we really need to overcome that, and I think that's why it's such an important initiative that you started, and being there for another sister and making them realize that they are in the same boat as you, and it's so important. And sometimes I also do feel like women don't tend to help each other, and I think it's one of the reasons is that they just have so much on their plate that
Yeah.
they just like, I'm just gonna do my own thing and do my own life, right? And they ignore the part that there are other is struggling women out there, and it's important to take some time for them to give a hand, and it's important. So it's very important to me that I make sure that I take time out for another woman. So that's definitely one of the struggling point where we don't tend to do that, because we all are struggling, and we should definitely believe in ourselves because we are as capable and better, or better. I personally believe that we as like women, men can only focus on one thing at a time. Women can do 10 things at a time. Definitely at a better attention span naturally, as a woman. So for sure, definitely believe in yourself.
Thank you so much for that. I totally agree with you. And now, like on like the opposite side of the spectrum, what are the benefits of pursuing a career in biomedical engineering, going into that field?
um, so one of the benefits is that biomedical engineering, especially, is such a broader field than other engineering. So we get to work with biologists, we get to work with chemists, get to work with an electrical engineering person. So we have such a broader spectrum of understanding. So it really makes us a better researcher, a better scientist, and a better educator to be able to understand different fields. So I think that's one of the biggest outcome of being part of biomedical engineering, is to be able to understand other people's languages, which is and I'm very grateful that the type of work that I did in my PhD was on a different spectrums as well. So I was able to understand several different languages, which is good.
Since you brought it up, can you describe like what you did for your PhD? You recently defended it like a month ago, so congratulations, first of all. And second of all, like if you could take some time to explain your research.
Absolutely. So my work is on aortic valve, which is right in your heart. So it's one of the four valves that is present in the aortic valve, and its main function is to provide this blood flow from the heart to the rest of the body, which makes it very, very important, because if the heart is not being pumped, the blood is not being pumped to the rest of the body, then there is a problem. And
Yeah.
it's one of the main defects in the cardiovascular diseases, so aortic valve malformation. So I really wanted to understand at a basic cellular level to understand the mechanics and understand the biology, because if we understand those things, taking a step back and understanding from a biological and mechanical perspective how this thing actually works, then we can actually target these diseases in a better way. So my work was done on, so there's like two specific proteins that are present in the aortic valve. One is like, it's called collagen, which is like a rope, and elastin, which is like elastic, a rubber band. And
Yeah.
my work was on this elastin, which provides this elasticity to the aortic valve so that it can actually open and close. So my work was mainly understanding on the production of elastin, who's producing elastin, because once elastin degrades or it damages, it doesn't regenerate itself, and it becomes a problem and leads to diseases. So it becomes very important to understand from cellular perspective, who are these cells that are making elastin. So what I interestingly found was that the pigment cells that give rise to the color of your hair, your skin, are the ones producing elastin, and they are present in the aortic valve as well, which is like crazy to think, like, why would the pigment cells be there? They're there, and they actually produce elastin. So yeah, so I think it's if we understand these things, then we can target these cells better in the future using therapeutics. So using a lot of biomedical techniques to target that specific protein.
Thank you so much for explaining that. And also, like, you explained it really well and to a level that I know, like, anyone could understand. So thank you so much for that. It sounds super interesting. I did not know any of that. And it's really cool how you said how the pigment cells were present there and they played a role. So yeah, like, thank you so much.
Of
Um,
course.
what has been like one of your most memorable experiences as a woman in science, as a student, as a researcher? Um, if you have one, or it could be a few that we would like to share.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's so many, but I will definitely share this one broader experience.
Yes.
The graduate student, and I also taught in undergrad as well. Teaching has been very gratifying, and so when I teach, and especially with biomedical engineering, we do have a lot more women as compared to other engineering fields, right? And it became my utmost desire uh, to get close to my female students. I understood as an undergrad that there was always a barrier between a graduate student and an undergrad. It was always very hard for an undergraduate student to go to a graduate student to just talk about anything life. And we all often forget that we are as much of a human as an undergrad. Like I was undergrad like a few years ago, you know. So I always made sure that in my classes, I would get to know my female students more closely. I would try to be friends with them and understand them better and help them, because most of the time it turns out that they also have like family issues, as much as like men wouldn't talk about them, but they do. And I always wanted to just be there for them and then be able to talk to them, just anything besides my classes that I'm teaching. So it became such a gratifying part of being a graduate student to be able to connect with these young girls, and I still can stay connected with them and I check on them and stuff. So one of the best friendships I've had is through my teaching classes and becoming friends with these young girls. Although sometimes I do feel old around them, but
You
overall,
don't look old though.
I being around them and being there for them and seeing them succeed. It makes me so happy. And
Yeah.
I see them, I think, saying that, oh, I'm going to graduate school or I'm going to go pursue PhD. And I'm just like, oh my God, I literally like, it brings so much joy to me to be able to see that them pursuing higher education is just incredible. And that has been my purpose, to just be there for another woman. I would drop an experiment any day to just be there and talk to them about anything. Sometimes I can't personally go and help them, but just being there and listening to them, and it has brought a lot of joy to me. So it's been very memorable in my graduate career that I'm taking with me.
That was so wholesome. Like that warmed my heart a lot. Thank you so much. I know women like you, we look up to you guys, and it means a lot to know like the other side, like how you guys feel when you're mentoring like undergrad students. And I could definitely see you're so passionate about that. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. What are your career goals ultimately as a woman in STEM? Like, where do you want to see yourself in maybe 5 to 10 years?
Absolutely. So I have some personal goals, and definitely have career goals. So I'm actually moving to Boston next month. I got a postdoctoral appointment at Harvard, so I'm moving there.
Congratulations.
Um, so that will be like for a few years. I plan to then apply for. I want to stay in academia for sure. And one of my biggest goal is to be a research scientist at NIH, so National Institute of Health. If that there's some delay in there, which I hope it won't, because that's one of my biggest goals. I definitely want to pursue an academic career at a university and definitely teach part-time. If I go to NIH, they usually have partnership with schools, so I definitely want to teach as well. One of my personal goals is to give a TED Talk one day, and I would like to make that happen in like the next 5 to 10 years. That has been one of my personal goals, that I really want to do that. So let's hope if I can make it happen.
When you do, I'll love to have you back on here.
Send me an email.
And finally, to end this, do you have any advice for female undergraduate students who are watching this right now, who want to pursue a PhD in biomedical engineering or might want to pursue a career in biomedical engineering?
Absolutely. Definitely believe in yourself. You're more than capable than you think you are. At times, things seem really hard, and we try to feel a lot of things and emotions comes in the way, and we just try to think like, oh, I had so much, and I get it, and there is so much. There's always gonna be, you would always have to work harder to get to where you want to be, but just keep going, and don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something, because you always can. And nobody, like, even if people tell, like, it actually has become a motivation to me when people tell me that you can't do something. I'm like, I'm gonna prove myself, but I'll show that I can do that stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely stay focused, hard working, and communication skills will lead you so far in life. Just keep going.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on here. I wish you the best in all of your endeavors. I know you're going to be super successful. So, thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Well, bye, guys. I hope to see you on the next video.